So how many restraining orders does the waitress have?
A lot, dude. I mean, she's been irritated with me. She's like, you got me fired from the Oldies Rock Cafe. You're gonna get me fired from the coffee shop.
This is incredible. You gotta listen to this message. Come here, seriously. This chick is so in love with me, it's crazy.
Hi, Dennis. It's Kaylee. I was just calling to let you know that I hope you die.
Super Flag Bros.
You are obviously a terrible person with no regard for anyone but yourself. I never, ever want to see you again, you steaming pile of horse shit. Go to hell!
Whoa, that's amazing.
Division 6 Podcast.
Oh, guys, I have a system, a foolproof system for getting any chick's undying love and devotion for life.
With D's Delaries
And once we're on my bed, it is game over. I engage her physically and the sexual waltz begins.
and P's Delaries.
Smooth. Very, very smooth stuff. Very classy. I'm learning a lot from you right now, dude.
Okay, now, once you've had sex with the woman, she will naturally start to depend on you, okay? All women do this. They certainly do.
Welcome everyone, you are listening to and perhaps watching Super Flag Bros on www.theunclemikeshow.com. Of course, if you're watching live, you know that we are in the Coast to Coast studios. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I am Peas Delaries. I can be followed at Peas FPF. I'm joined in studio by D's Delaries. You can be followed at
Lobster Lightsaber, at Thug Rug, at Young Rug, and Rug Life.
I'm not going to remember any of those, although I did like Lobster Lightsaber, so I'm
Thanks.
hoping I remember that later.
I thought about pretty hard
You can
about
also
it.
follow him at Dave's Republic. My mistake. At Dave's Republic. We're also in studio with our producer, the Eagle at Master Control. He can be followed at Eagle FPF. It's funny because we were just talking to earlier before you walked in when you said that you had some conversations on Twitter with the producer of the SVP and Priscilla show, and you felt bad for the producer because of how much they berated
They do all the
their
time.
producer.
They really do.
See, I'm on the other end. I understand working with absolute sheer incompetence at the producer position. Unfortunately, we've been sewn together with Eagle. He does his best, but his best isn't very good. No
I
games.
try real hard.
You try
Yeah,
real
you
hard.
really do. You really try.
I'll give you and Simon Dajny awards for participation at the end of the season.
We should
E
give,
for effort, F for fail.
just on a side note, we should give participation medals. I just think that would make everyone feel a lot better when they
Which
don't make
randomly,
playoffs.
like, not to everyone, just you buy 6 and then you just walk into the field like, hey man.
You're gonna start a fight that
you,
way.
You just pin it on them.
You are against fighting, but
I
you
am.
are for
I
giving
am.
participation medals.
I am also for FPF action, and there were no games this weekend.
There were none at all. The question is there anyone listening?
Probably not. Which means we could say anything we want.
Cheese sticks,
Cheesesteaks,
applesauce, and go get some.
But the award that you compare most to cheesesteaks,
Yeah.
would it not be quarterback of the year?
Yes, I think that's the only thing that I would ever allude at to be. But yeah, I think there's really only one person
Who's the
this
cheesesteak?
season- Who's the cheesesteak?
Who's the cheesesteak in your opinion?
I'm gonna say Russell Shansky, not you.
And Russell, no, definitely not me.
Not you.
If there was a award for throwing a lot of interceptions, that would be me. This award will in fact go to Russell Shansky. Flagrant fouls number 28. He threw 50 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 1,842 yards. His quarterback rating was just shy of a $105. Ross, he had a great season. We had a great conversation after our game. I think you have a bright future ahead of you in FPF. I just want to wish you, best of luck heading into this week. Unfortunately, this will be your last week as you will lose to Pocket Watch in the playoffs in the first round.
Oh,
but
that's a
them
terrible
fighting words.
That is a terrible
Them fighting
matchup.
words. No, that'd be in all seriousness, Ross. I'm honestly amazed by what you've done your first season. I think you have a bright future ahead of you in FPF. Going 15-9, it doesn't matter what division in your first season. Just shows you have lots of room to grow, lots of room to get better. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think about Ross winning this award?
I think it's the only guy we can really give it to at this point, and that's not taking anything away from him.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely proven to be the elite talent in this division.
Yeah. Well, what about a guy like Daniel Golov throwing less touchdowns? He threw 41 with 9 interceptions. Good stats. Maybe it would have been a little bit closer had he played the 10th game.
Yeah.
But let's say we just say in 9 games, 41 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
But I always
6 interceptions.
I agree, but I think that and obviously Dan Golov has been a true centerpiece of his team. But with Ross, it's kind of like, he kind of propels his team forward, and and it's not just the stats. Okay, yes, he has like a very, very good quarterback rating, throws very few interceptions, 50 touchdowns in any division. I don't care what you say is a great number. But the fact that he doesn't get sacked very much is very interesting to me.
It's a lot to do with his mobility. Russell Shensky is a tackle.
Look, 3 sacks the whole season, and that can also be, it always skewed too. In this league, the stats are never totally correct, but I think no, but I think roughly like that pretty much explains to me what kind of quarterback he is. He's extremely elusive. In the pocket,
and that's the thing is he's actually a running back in tackle football,
right?
There's a famous Barry Sanders quote above flag football where he said, "If they can't catch my flag, there's no way they can hit me," sort of thing. So I think that it translates exactly to that. And Ross is just he's great at getting rid of the ball. B, he buys time in the pocket. He will avoid the rusher just because he knows how to control his body. He knows how to get out of the way. He knows how to play with the rusher. He knows how to get yards. He knows how to.
Is there a way for me to convince him to stay in Division 6 so that we can keep good talent in Division 6? Because I feel like he's not going to stay.
Because you don't want that either. Because then what happens? The new team comes in, and they get their ass beat.
I know, but I mean,
for lack of a better word,
at the same time, like we need our stars in Division 6.
It's one word, by the way.
We need
the ass beat. It's one word.
We need our stars in Division 6.
Yes, but I like having new stars every season, and I love when I wrote the articles for Division E and Division 6 in the past. I loved not knowing who's going to be good at the beginning of the season because it's a complete roll of the dice. You have guys not playing a normal position. You have guys, like playing with different teams. You have guys you've never heard of. Guys who had one kind of good season. Maybe they'll be better. Maybe they'll be worse.
I get that. But that shouldn't take away from the talent pool that's going to come in. I feel like having a Tom Brady type of quarterback in our league.
What you're saying is we need Tom Brady in Division 6.
But I'm saying that having this caliber of a quarterback and lead quarterback, it's going to propel teams to essentially play better, And I think,
yeah.
I think
but the only worry would be again is a brand new coming in team getting smoked by flagrant fouls next season. You know what I mean? With a season under their belt and Ross being so much better.
Right. It's not the NFL.
Another team that did really well this season, LA's finest. Another team really that no one knew about other than Theo Bakelis, who's played Division 1 or Division 2. They actually host Receiver of the Year, number 81, Andrew Grant. He had 35 catches, 600 yards, 12 TDs. 12 TDs is a big deal.
It is.
It's more than the TD game. It's constant contribution to your team, especially when your touchdown you catch the touchdown percentage is 1 to 3 basically. One out of every 3 passes he catches is a touchdown.
And I think that's important to know, and also what's also important to notice for people that are listening is that these awards they go to a single division player.
Yeah, if you play a different position in a lower division, you're eligible for an award. But if you play the same position, so if you're a receiver, for example, Danny Demore, who probably would have been a runaway in this category or two-way player of the year, but the fact that he plays in Division 3 as well precludes him from getting this award. However, it's a rule I've never agreed with. It's sort of like everyone needs to have a fair chance to win the award, Clark.
Not at all. No, because in a sense, it's kind of deceiving because Andrew Grant has had an exceptional season. Nothing to take away from him.
No, of course.
But at the same time, like
do we know for a fact that Andrew Grant isn't better than Danny Demore just because one guy happens to play in Division 3 and one guy happens not to?
No, it's true.
We don't know that. We don't know that Andrew Grant wouldn't step in Division 3 and win the award. For right off, we don't know.
I'm actually surprised to see a player like when I looked at the list and I saw that he was only ranked number 6 in total touchdowns this season. To tell you the truth, I was a little bit shocked that that he was only playing in one division, and this is a talent that's probably gonna get snatched up pretty quick from another team. I mean, if I was building another team, if I was building a higher division team, and I might,
he says recruiting on the podcast.
I'm just saying, I would love to have a player of that caliber on my team. I really would. And listen, and just to make it clear, Andrew Grant, if you want to play for my team, just let me know. I'll give you my number after the game.
And what's interesting is this is the type of award that usually goes to a team that has really one standout receiver. And I don't think that's the case here at all.
No, it's not.
I don't think
It's
that's
really
the
not.
case
It's really not.
with LA's finest at all. There's a bunch of guys who can play here. We see like even a guy like Ricky. What's that name, Eagle? Because you have the font so small, I can't see.
Ricky Kobe.
Ricky Kobe.
Ricky Kobe.
Okay, Ricky Cobain. He got 7 touchdowns this season. We have a couple of guys in the 3 touchdown range, so guys are contributing. And Andrew Grant did take snaps as quarterback as well.
Yeah.
So all that being said, you know what? Like there's really like it really shows that he's a standout in a strong team overall. That's for receiver of the year. Anyway, defensive player of the year. This was no doubt in my mind.
No, there's not, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Simon Laporte of Jean-Guy, 27 sacks, 6 passes deflected, 5 tackles.
But it's not-
And he got kicked out
Yeah.
early in the pocket watch Jean-Guy game
Not surprised.
because he wore pockets,
No.
was off for 5 plays, then came back on with pockets,
Yeah.
the same pockets, the same shorts. So while it's funny because you're getting a call from Pops, right? From our dad?
Yeah.
He called me and I texted him, "We're doing our show.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later."
Yeah, he knows. He knows.
Bizarre.
But he's stubborn like we are.
Apparently.
Hashtag Cosmo Del Roca.
Hashtag Cosmo Del Roca, indeed.
but-
But the thing is, imagine how many sacks you would have got had he had to rush me all game. Who can't move?
But I think that this goes beyond the sack number. When I think about Jean-Guy as a team, when I think a lot of playoff teams, really relies on their offense and relies on their offensive standout players. But this team specifically, Jean-Guy, okay, we're talking about a player, Simon Laporte, that brings it on both sides of the field, but brings it specifically on defense. And to me, what makes him the defensive player of the year, and I don't even care about really the sack number, it's the fact that he disrupts the quarterback every game, and I feel like he has the most effect on an offense as being a defensive player in Division 6. And there's no one else that comes close, and it's not, like I said, it's not about numbers. It's about pure talent, and I think in this specific spot, being a rusher, a lot of times a rusher, do they get defensive awards in our league? No, it usually goes to someone who gets a lot of interceptions, right?
Unless they're completely outstanding at it, which is the case here.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
he
I
got
feel
almost 3 sacks a game. That's a
because
big
we
deal.
were talking about it too. We were saying like after him, like who else is there? And it's not even close. And it's just because it's a matter of creating, like, when you have a good rush in this league, when you have a good rush in any division, I don't care what team you're playing for, if you have a good rush, it's incredible what it does for your defense. Just having someone there that's going to disrupt the quarterback, knowing every play you can run man coverage, just because the guy's going to be up in your face. Like, anyway, I'm going to go in too much, but I think to me it's a no-brainer. It has.
And what's interesting is he broke the record that was set last season in Division E by Malcolm Archer. He had 25 sacks this season with it wasn't Hot Boys Hotline back then. It was Alcohol of Fame.
So is this for real? This is a real stat-breaking
Yeah,
moment.
stat-breaking moment.
That Simon Laporte is probably not hearing or listening to. Probably will never even know. But he is
he
probably
knows.
going to be in our Hall of Fame going forward if he has this season
if he
again
continues
next
to have
year.
this kind of season, absolutely.
So
it's,
don't change the rusher position, because a lot of guys they're amazing at being rusher and they get
fed
switched
up.
out, right?
Brian Nguyen,
Stay in that position. You'll be a Hall of Famer in 5 years, 6.
10 seasons.
10
So
seasons.
5 years.
Yeah, but that's because you have a bunch of grandpas like you making decisions.
Nope. I said I'm the opposite in most decisions.
But you said 10 years. 10 years is the
No, it's 10 seasons, so 5 years.
okay.
Absolutely. So and then two-way player of the year, we get Daniel Goloff winning. I think again he was close in a sense for quarterback of the year. Also putting up impressive defensive numbers. So 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
It helps the fact that he plays quarterback.
Yeah, of course. 1,374 yards. And he had 6 interceptions on defense.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd agree in a way it helps because it's easy to put up numbers at quarterback, but it's hard to put up numbers at quarterback and play strong defense.
For the 3 or 4 people that are actually listening to the episode and they're asking, how come it's not someone like Danny Demore? It's because we don't. Once again, we should probably repeat it. It's single division players, and he is a single division player. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And if Eagle can bring up the standings, I just wanted to touch on a couple of topics before we go to break. If there was a Dear Duke column,
You're Duke.
and they would ask you, Duke, what advice do you have for losing teams? So let's take a look at the teams that did not make the playoffs.
We don't have to.
Which are
I'm
no
sure
longer
you know, yeah.
on our spreadsheet. So we'll just we'll take a quick look. If Eagle could scroll down in Conference A, of course we look at Smoking Axles, the Minge, TMB. So let's look at those teams for example. What do those teams? Didn't you give me one-liners like Smoking Axles? How would you improve them for next season?
Okay, I'm going team by team, or is it going to be just generally losing teams?
Just losing teams?
Okay.
And now give me like 1-2 sentences as to how they can improve.
Smoking Axles, I'd say get a better quarterback.
Change your name so we can pronounce it.
Yeah, actually, that should be the
That's
first
the
one.
first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly,
But it's going to be the same answer for most losing teams because that's just how it's a quarterback-centric league. Like we could go one by one and say how is this team going to perform, but it's not about one specific player.
Well, let's see. I mean,
however, it is, and you can't disagree with this. It is a quarterback-centric league. You cannot win. You cannot get into the playoffs if you do not have a quarterback.
Absolutely, but I think there's other problems too. Like the Minch, for example, get a solid roster. Get 7, 8, 9, 10 guys who come out to every game, because on top of not having quarterback,
That goes for Orange Crush as well.
it doesn't help to have rotating cast every week.
But
the thing is with Team NB, I don't think the issue is quarterback.
I get that, but we have to understand the circumstance of our league as well. Like where it's a type of league where when you start to lose games, people just don't show up, and look, we've come to that situation as well with our team in Division 5. Like when you're starting to lose games and people like they have other things to do at night, it's not like you're getting paid by the league to play, right?
Yeah,
So
but
the
I mean,
NFL
at the same time, it's an expensive league to play.
yeah,
and
but
you
you
paid.
gotta
You
find
might as well show
reliable
up.
players, and you're right in the sense that you have to find reliable players. But like that's the kind of situation that you're gonna run into because like. Why is Simon Dagenet calling us during a podcast?
During our goddamn show.
I never lose my cool on the show, but I'm about to lose my cool.
What about?
But no, let me just go back. Let me go back for a second. What was I even talking
Who
about?
knows?
This is the kind of disruption it causes.
The mics are picking it up, by the way.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Um,
Anyway, whatever.
but let's-
But you got my point.
So then let's look at a team like Team NB. That I thought the quarterback play was solid, but they had good play calling, good athletes. It just wasn't working. They just
But it
weren't
was-
scoring
Yeah.
at all. So in that case, I wouldn't say get a better quarterback. I'd say
I know.
that's a case where maybe stick with one because they had 3 quarterbacks attempting at least 100 passes.
But that goes to my point that you need a stable quarterback.
Absolutely, but I don't think they need to go get one. I think they need to choose one. And
right, so the
allow them to get better.
circumstance is quite different in the sense that but the good thing is that they have like going into the offseason, and the good thing about you're asking me also losing teams, like how can losing teams improve and what their goals should be coming up. Like look, the summer's about to start. Like there's going to be plenty of parks in the city and outside the city that are going to be dry, and just go out there, take your guys out to the field and just throw some passes. Like
absolutely. What about
just figure it out.
What about a team like Goon Squad? In my opinion, I think learning defensive concepts will help them a lot. You allow 37.2 points a game, even if you get a better quarterback, it won't help.
No, that's a lot. No, but that's another situation where you got to get your guys out and run some drills in the park. And it sounds boring, and a lot of guys don't want to do it because their girlfriends are busting and are saying, "Oh, why can't we go to the park and I'm going to wear my bathing suit. It's really sexy. I'm going to wear my bikini, and you can't say no to that.
No,
but maybe you.
There's
can
no circumstance.
Maybe you can
There's no way you can get out of that.
Get her fall asleep and then just wait. Run out for a quick pass at practice.
So what you're not saying absolutely is to roofie your girlfriend.
No,
so
I
you
didn't
go to
say that. No,
football
I
practice.
said just
Orange Crush.
Is it-
0-10. What would be the recipe for them? And you can't say quarterback.
I can't say quarterback.
You can say quarterback. If you want.
I can't quarterback.
There we go. What about Team 4th and 20? Having a decent season, like they fell only 2 games out of the playoff race, only winning 2 games, but still close in it until about week 8. What would be your recommendation here?
Get out to the field and practice. I'm sorry, it's going to come down to the same thing, but I feel also during the winter season you don't get a chance. You don't get a chance to get out and you don't get a chance to get out and practice during the season.
Absolutely.
And I find during the winter season specifically, but now, and screw people that are playing soccer. If they're playing soccer, just charge onto the field, take the soccer ball, deflate it with a knife, might scare them away, and then they may never come back again. Maybe might call the cops. Who knows? But if they call the cops, at least you have 15 minutes of solid practice.
And seriously, soccer. What are you, Europe? Anyway, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk about the playoffs, about the upcoming roadshow and press conferences, and maybe even a little science.
European hot dogs are bullshit.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
It is playoff season. You are back. You are listening to Super Flag Bros. I am Pease Delaries. You are D's Delaries. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are the show with the most paper in all of the FPF programming.
So much research.
Nobody kills as many trees as us at Super Flag Bros. The biggest corporate, of course, is Eagle. If you want to tweet him about that or live tweet the show, you can tweet him at EagleFPF, #paperkiller. You can, of course, if you're watching live, you're watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com.
Who's on tonight?
Who's on the Uncle Mike Show?
Hey, Mike, who's on tonight?
Guess. Eagle will find out when you can. We'll promo it in the next podcast. We are in the Coast to Coast studio, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you're not watching, well then, I don't care about your stuff. So, the playoffs are upon us. We've been in playoff games before. We've lost playoff games. Have you won a playoff game yet?
I did, but I did win I won a playoff game against a team with only 5 players.
Well, it's a playoff win.
But it counted as a win, actually. But the sad thing is that I felt like my team, this was when I had my team Banditos, which may come back next season, may come back in 2 or 3 seasons. We'll see how the knees do. But I felt like by only playing five players, it would weaken up my team. Next game out, played against a pretty tough team.
You changed your defense halfway through that was working and threw the game away. Sorry, I can't hear myself.
Apparently I threw the game away. But not me. But
this is what happens when you bet on FPF games. But what's different about the field of playoffs?
The field of playoffs? I actually don't think there's that much difference, but I feel like guys do play harder. Now, I mean, and playing Division 3, I'm sure, and I have no idea, it's my first season playing Division 3. I feel like going into the playoffs, people are going to play their hearts out.
Play their balls out is not an expression. So I'm glad you changed it to hearts at the last second.
But I do feel like that can be a thing, like in the playoffs. I never felt like the playoffs were that much different. It's still a 44-minute game, and the stakes are plus 5 plays. There definitely is going to be a different feel when a game.
Well, and there's also especially when you get to the finals, because we have.
The mistakes are huge, though. You really can't make mistakes.
You can't make any mistakes, and it's magnified. And you know what? A lot of people feel the pressure because we have the cameras set up. We have a live broadcast. We do live play-by-play. As far as I know, we're the only recreational league that does anything remotely close to that. It's our way to give, as a media team, it's our way to give back to you, to give you that air of professionalism, because you let us come on here and talk nonsense. Half an hour a week. Have you been on this show? Yes, absolutely. So you know what? Honestly, I gotta say it's something really cool, and it gives us an opportunity to give back. And on top of that, we also have the press conference coming up as well, where we will interview a member of each team that makes the finals.
Yeah.
And that way,
if they're willing to come out here.
Well, you know what? It gives it. Well, I don't think we're gonna do it here. We're gonna do it in a location
Skype
probably that's more central, or maybe by Skype. We'll find a way to do it. Anyway, it'll be something interesting. It gives a kind of live wrestling feel where teams get to talk a little trash to each other. That's kind of fun. But speaking of fun, it's time. It's everyone's favorite part of the show. It is Science Hour with Duke, everyone. This is once a week. I will take a scientific concept. I will give it to you. You will then define it, and it will become the new definition for the word for the rest of time. And that word, of course, is pharmacodynamics. Pharmacodynamics.
I hate you guys so much.
What is the definition of pharmacodynamics?
Okay, well, to start off, okay, I really hate you both
I know.
because this is a stupid idea.
The greatest segment of all time.
Because I clearly don't know any of this stuff. I spend my time on the computer, Wikipedia-ing random things like
Maybe you
baseball,
should
baseball bats.
Wikipedia more science and answer my question.
I should.
Pharmacodynamics.
Do I have to? Do I have to-
Absolutely.
How do you spell this?
I even spelled it for
It's
you.
on the screen right now that you're looking at.
But how G-rated can I can't be G-rated with this one. But I just think I think that when you're doing pharmacodynamics, well, you got to split it down the middle 50-50. Pharma for me is like drugs, you know. So the codynamics is doing drugs in groups. So it's got to be something related to that, because like if you're not doing drugs in groups, it's kind of pathetic because you can't be doing pharma solo dynamics. You gotta be.
That's a good
You
point.
gotta be doing
It makes it
codynamics.
less dynamic when you do it
Like
alone.
whenever I'm told, these, like, what's the problem? Like, how come you look sad today? Not enough pharmacodynamics.
That makes a lot of sense. That explains a lot of things. Thank you, Deez. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next podcast?
Don't fire me, please.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
pretty good.
surprised it lasted this long, though.
Yeah, that's a pretty good final thought, all things considered. That being said, what I want to talk, I just wanted to, with Thursday's lesson plan, take a minute, look at something that I can give a shout out to Division 6. A lot of teams didn't make the playoffs. A lot of teams knew they were going to make the playoffs. A lot of players were missing. Yet teams went out and found players to play in their Division 6 games this week.
Yeah.
There were no forfeits.
That's good.
Across the entire division. That's something absolutely amazing. It shows a lot of commitment. It shows guys are having fun. It doesn't matter if it's 0-10. Doesn't matter if it's 10-0. Guys are having a good time.
Yeah, no fights either.
No, well, it's been a good week. Honestly, keep it up. Head out into the playoffs. Good luck, everyone. Deez, thanks for joining me. Eagle.
Wait. Show up early to your games. Don't just show up like on time. Like, get a warm up in.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
Get a rub down.
That should have been your actual final thought. Get a rub down. And Eagle, thank you for twisting those knobs as you always do. I am Peace Del Reese reminding you, flag football, question.